Hey guys, so if we haven't met, my name's Holly. I'm a full-time yoga instructor in Washington, D.C., and I'm making yoga and meditation videos and tutorials that you can try from home during COVID. So today we're going to go over Eagle Pose or Garasana in the Bikram 26 and 2 sequence. So I'll start by showing you and then I'll walk you through all the different parts. You're going to stand with your feet together, bring your arms over your head sideways, and then bring your right arm under your left arm, always starting with the right side of the body, right under left, palms together, thumbs towards the face, pinkies towards the mirror. You'll bend your knees and sit down low into a chair. Stay down there and bring your right leg over your left leg as high as possible. Cross first at your legs, again if you can at your foot, so one day the foot wraps behind the calf muscle. If your foot is coming out, sit down more. If you're losing your balance, arch your upper body back. Bring your knees to the right, upper body to the left, trying to line up everything down the center line of your body. Sit down more, weight in your heel, suck your stomach in, arch your upper body back at the end. Good, change to unwind, feet together, arms over your head, other side. Bring your left arm under your right arm, palms together, thumbs towards your face. Remembering that we're not symmetrical, this side might feel different. You'll bend your knees and sit down first, so hips down into a chair. Stay down there and bring your left leg up and over your right leg as high as possible, eventually wrapping the foot. If your foot is coming out, sit down more. If you're losing your balance, arch your upper body back. Knees to the left, upper body to the right, twist like ropes, sit a little bit lower, hips into a chair, stomach in, arch your upper body back at the end. Good, change, feet together, arms over your head, and arms down. Wonderful. So I'll break down all the different parts of that posture. We'll start with the upper body for Eagle. In a lot of yoga, you want to use your strength rather than momentum, and that's perhaps the difference between some yoga postures versus like acrobatics, right? But in this posture in particular, you can use a little bit of momentum. So you'll bring your arms over your head, and then right arm under left arm, using a little bit of momentum. Almost think of your arms like loose ropes. The arms are nice and relaxed, like heavy ropes. You're just gonna swing one arm under the other arm, right under the left. Now at first, if you're tight, you'll grab shoulders. This is really normal. From the side, rather than having the elbows up and the shoulders up, you're gonna hug the elbows in, bring the shoulders down, okay? Eventually, maybe you'll grab a thumb, interlock fingers, or have hands in prayer. Now notice my thumbs are towards the face, pinkies away from the face. Often as beginners, we get a little bit confused with the wrists and maybe like pinkies towards the nose, thumbs away from the face. You're gonna flip the wrists one more time and then have the palms together, thumbs towards the face, pinkies towards the mirror, okay? Now in a lot of styles of yoga and Eagle Pose, we lift the arms up, and this is a delicious stretch. But in this style of yoga, we're gonna bring the arms down, so one day fingers go below the nose. If you've ever wondered why that is, like why do we pull the elbows down rather than lifting them up, it's important to remember that in Bikram or 26 and 2 yoga, think of it rather than a song, think of it rather than individual notes in music, think of it as a song. Rather than individual postures, it's a specific sequence, yeah? So if you think about where this one comes in the sequence, we've just done awkward pose, right? So the hips are warmed up, and we're about to do after this standing head to knee. So if you can pull the elbows down here to decompress the neck and shoulders, okay, then it's gonna be a lot easier to round forward and pick up your foot in the next posture, right? So every posture prepares your body for the next one. So again, rather than lifting the elbows up, we're pulling the elbows down, so one day fingers go below the nose, okay? For my friends who've been coming for a while and have the hands in prayer, sometimes we can get a little bit complacent in this one. I see a lot of folks with really good practices in general where like the elbows are bending, maybe hands are to one side and one shoulder is higher than the other. If you're getting a little bit bored in this posture, focus on the little minute details, yeah? Try to keep the wrists straight and the fingers together. So I'm trying to keep my fingers together and straighten the wrists, and then keep the fingers together and straighten the wrists. It takes a little bit of time. So eventually, wrists straight and fingers lining up. Again, notice if your hands are going to one side, that's just tightness in your shoulders. You're gonna try and bring your hands back to center. Notice what happens when I bring my hands back to center. Whoop, one shoulder pops up. So I'm gonna try and pull the shoulders down and keep the fingers in the center line of the body. Again, pulling the elbows down. One day fingers go below the nose. So again, it's this constantly trying to squeeze everything back to the center line of the body as you straighten the wrists and pull the elbows down. That's the upper body. Next, I'll show you the lower body. So if it's the right arm under the left arm, it's going to be the right leg over the left leg. Think of your body almost like a pretzel braid, okay? So you're going to bring your right leg up and over your left leg. And I should start by saying you want to sit down first. So hips down low. Rather than lifting up, rather than doing this, whoop, you're going to keep your hips down, okay? Weight in the heel, and then bring your right leg over your left leg. Now at first when we're tight, you know, the foot's way out to the side, and that's okay. Eventually, you're going to wrap the foot. A drill you can do, not during class, but before or after class, is to try the legs while seated. A lot of times people find it easier to wrap the foot when you're on your butt rather than when you're trying to balance. So you'll just bend both legs, bring the right leg over the left leg, and then you're gently, never forcing the body. One day, I'm just going to hook the foot. Yes, you can always try this before or after class from a seated position. You might find it a little bit easier to wrap the foot. So again, sitting down, keeping the hips low, then bringing the right leg over the left leg. Another thing to remember, the higher you wrap the leg, the more leg there is to work with, the more you have to twist, yeah? The more like you can twist the foot. So again, if you're like barely hooking one foot over the other, I barely have my shin here, I can't really hook, but if I'm bringing the leg all the way over, whoop, then maybe I can wrap the foot, right? The higher you lift the leg over the left leg, the easier it is to cross, twist, and breathe, okay? So once you're in the posture, whether your foot is wrapping or not, you'll notice maybe that the knees are going to one side, right? And one hip is forward of the other one. You're trying to square off everything in the center line of the body. Notice that I'm not mirroring you in this one, so apologies for that. But you're gonna bring knees to the right, upper body to the left, so you want wrists over elbows, elbows over knees, knees over ankle, weight in the heel. The same way that your hands might twist to the side, same thing with the hips. You're trying to even out the hips and shoulders. So always noticing if one hip or shoulder is higher than the other, trying to even them out. Great, we'll try the other side. Arms over your head, again, using a little momentum. Left arm under the right arm, palms together. Again, we're not symmetrical. Maybe on one side, hands together, and on the other side, you're grabbing your shoulders. That's okay. Again, my hands are to one side of my body. I'm gonna try to bring them back and pull the elbow down. I'll show you again. So sitting low, hips down low. Remember we did awkward pose before this, right? So we're warmed up, hips down low, and then bring your left leg over your right leg, cross twist, eventually hooking the foot. Again, trying to square off the hips and shoulders. So noticing if one hip or shoulder is higher than the other, or maybe closer, trying to get wrists over elbows, elbows over knees, knees over ankle. Another thing to remember, you want to bring the hips back and down, yeah? So if the weight's in your big toe and your knees are really far forward, you're going to try to bring the weight back into the heel, hips back and down, and then arch your upper body back at the end. Wonderful. Another thing to remember, in most postures in this series, we take a break between the first and second set, but in this one we go right into second set using that momentum, right? So it's like, and then you go right into second set. So always remember in the second set, you're still trying to get a little bit more form, a little bit more depth, still sitting down, hips into a chair, pulling the elbows down. Some tricks. If your foot is coming out, sit down more. If you're losing the balance, arch your upper body back. For those of you that easily wrap your foot, no problem. The next trick is to try to eliminate the gap between your ankle and calf muscle. So rather than flexing your toes, you're going to point your toes down and try to eliminate the gap between your ankle and calf muscle. Again, rather than flexing your toes, point the toes down, push the ankle into the calf, yeah? So the more compression you can build, the more you can open up the joints, right? You're trying to open up deltoid, scapula, elbows, wrists, hips, knees, and ankles, all the major joints in the body, right? You're trying to squeeze everything in, so I'm squeezing my palms together, trying to straighten the wrists, squeezing the arms together, pulling the elbows down. You also want to think about squeezing inner thighs, knees together, pushing the ankle into the calf. That is my tutorial on Eagle Pose. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. You can email me at hollyhancockyoga@gmail.com. Have a wonderful day. Hope